Hello and welcome to a short series of films about songs Queen wrote about paintings. It's a short series of one. Today we'll be looking at this painting, which is Richard Dadd's The Fairy Fella's Master Stroke, which I've cleverly mounted on a window. Look at that. And here we have the Queen's song, The Fairy Fella's Master Stroke. Turn off the music there. This was taken from the 1974 album Queen 2. This was Queen's second album, hence the name Queen 2. The album was divided into side white and side black, and The Fairy Fella's Master Stroke was a song on the side black. Now, onto the painting. Here it is. Richard Dadd in 1844 killed his dad. There's a poem about this. Richard Dadd killed his dad. Thank you. In 1844, after killing his dad, he was committed at age 27 to the Bethlehem Hospital in London. This is also called Bedlam. That's where we get Bedlam from. Between the dates of 1855 to 1864, you can't see that, he spent all this time painting this picture. I'm quite a slow painter myself. It took me all weekend to paint my apartment once, and that was only 2 bedrooms. So you can imagine how long it might take somebody to paint this. This painting hangs in Tate Britain in London, so if you've got nothing better to do, go and have a look at this. If it's hanging there at the moment, sometimes they take it down, give it a wash. You can also buy the poster from Tate Britain. It costs about £6. There are lots of creepy details in the poster painting, and of course I've just realised that if I zoom in too much you can't see the detail. Richard Dadd wrote a poem about this painting, which you can't find anywhere on the internet, because if you did, this would be a far more interesting film. This figure here he called the Patriarch. As you can see, he's wearing a big hat with 3 layers of crowns, like a pope's hat. The brim of the hat comes out all the way over here and turns into plants, and you can't see it very well in here, but yes, you can see it. There are little fairies and elves dancing along the rim of his hat. One of the creepy aspects of the painting, if I just pull out here a little bit, you can see a face in the middle of the painting. These are the eyes here and the lips. There's another face you can see in the face of the Patriarch, which we noticed last time we looked at this, but I can't see it now, so that was pointless. The main figure here is of course the Fairy Fella. What the Fairy Fella intends to do is to crack open this hazelnut, thus making a chariot for Queen Mab. Queen Mab is the Queen Mab from Romeo and Juliet. It was very much the fashion in Victorian times to make paintings about Shakespearean stuff, especially fairies, partly because everybody was smoking hallucinogenics and they believed in fairies and stuff. What else was there? if we look at the lyrics to this song, fucking book, for fuck's sake. I've got the page here. Here we go. The Fairy Fella's Master Stroke. We can point out the different bits on here. So the song goes, ah, he's a fairy fella. This is the fairy fella here. The fairy folk have gathered round the new moon's shine. One would assume that all the people in this picture are the fairy folk, unless we're referring to the people we saw earlier. I'll put this down here. Alright, Charlie. Charlie's my captive audience. There's the fairy folk here. The new moon's shine is an interesting phrase, because as we all know, the new moon does not shine. And so here we see the contrast of light and darkness as previously evinced in the side black side white dichotomy of the Queen 2 album, which was the second album by Queen. To see the fella crack a nut at night's noontime, again night's noontime, this interesting thing of black and white, not the Michael Jackson song, that came later. To swing the axe, he swears, as he climbs, he dares to deliver the master stroke. Then the lyrics go off on one, and Freddie Mercury sings about lots of people who I can't find in the painting, thus rendering this exercise quite futile. Ploughman, Wagner, Will, and types. There is a kind of a ploughman here. So we presume this is the ploughman, although who the wagoner is, we don't know, because nobody seems to have a wagon. And wagoner will doesn't make any sense either. It's followed by an apostrophe on this version. Anyway, there's some types here. I presume these are the types. Politician with senatorial pipe. This appears to be the politician here who's carrying a kind of a pipe. I don't know if it's a senatorial pipe because I'm a non-smoker. Over here there are some other people with what could be described as pipes, but we'll come back to them later. He's a dilly-dallio. Yes, he looks like a dilly-dallio, doesn't he? I've known many a dilly-dallio in my time. Pedagogue squinting wears a frown. At first I thought the patriarch might be the pedagogue, although I imagine it's this little chappy here. Hello. Because he's kind of cross-eyed, which might mean that he's squinting. Or maybe he was born like that, like the president of Argentina. Wears a frown, and a satyr appears under lady's gown. If you go to the Tate and look at the proper version, you'll be able to see a satyr here, having a shufties up the lady's gown. That you can't see it on this one. Lady's gown. He's a dirty fellow, what a dirty ladio. Tatterdemalayan and the junketer. I think that this is the Tatterdemalayan here. Tatterdemalayan is somebody who wears scruffy, unkempt clothes, so that could be him, which would make this the junketer, although he doesn't look like much of a junketer. There's a thief and a dragonfly trumpeter. I presume this is the dragonfly here playing a trumpet, although it's more of a horn. So the thief could be this chap, it could be somebody else. Look at this creepy little fella here, I don't like the look of him. He's a dilly-dallio, he's my hero. Fairy dandy tickling the fancy of his lady friend. This refers to the fairy fella and Queen Mab, who doesn't appear in the photograph, painting. The nymph in yellow. The nymph in yellow. The only person in yellow I can find is this one, and I'm colourblind, so she may actually be wearing green, but she does have a yellow hat. She doesn't look very nymphish, unless nymphs were quite ugly in those days. What a query fellow. That's the instrumental part of the song I'm performing for you just there. Then Mercury goes, soldier, sailor, tinker, tailor, ploughboy. There don't appear to be any of these characters in the painting. It's probably quite likely that Mercury was just singing